Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. This time we are going to be talking about Mega Man 2. This is one of the Worlds of Power books. So the Mega Man 2 Worlds of Power book, it's probably my least favorite book in the series so far, primarily because of the strange decision to make Mega Man a human. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and the logic behind it is kind of bizarre. When it starts off, Dr. Light says he needs to clone Mega Man, which I don't know why he would need to put him into a machine to make a copy of him. He could just build a second Mega Man. Somehow, this machine turns Mega Man into a human being. I have absolutely no idea how that works. It's not really explained, and I didn't really expect it to be. But yeah, it was pretty dumb, and you would have thought that Mega Man would have died right away as soon as he went to the first Robot Masters world, but nope, no he doesn't. The only thing that I can really think of as to why they made him into a human was to maybe add a sense of danger to the book, but I just don't. It just didn't really do that for me. I also think they saw the awful cover for Mega Man 2 and just kind of assumed that he was carrying his gun around instead of, the Mega Blaster being part of his arm. Because, yeah, he's swapping out weapons left and right, and it seems like the author thought that each of those weapons was something that he could just carry around instead of, switching the programming out for his blaster. Because later on in the book it gets explained that he has a special backpack that he can carry all of these weapons in, and he's just pulling them out and shooting them at random. He also keeps a jet ski in there too, which I know it was in the game, but it's just, yeah, it's very weird. Also, now that Mega Man is a human, he has to keep eating the energy tanks and the pellets in order to stay alive. And it's explained that the E-tanks are filled with some type of a nutrient liquid that Mega Man can eat, and it just makes him feel powerful again. And I was thinking maybe it's him just popping meth the entire time, but maybe he's like just taking uppers or something like that. It really makes me feel like Mega Man's a drug addict. It made way more sense when he was a robot that he's just finding an energy tank and he's hooking up to it and it's recharging him. But now that he's a human, he's just guzzling down these tanks of mystery liquid that for some reason Dr. Wily's just kind of leaving around. And it was at this point that I started realizing maybe I'm too old for this book. The story, though, is pretty basic. He just goes through all of the different robot masters and then makes his way to Dr. Wily's Castle of Evil, which I thought was kind of fun. They do a nice job of describing what each world looks like and what the Castle of Evil looks like. I think that's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, it's over really fast. I think this might be the shortest of the books that I've read so far. Well, the shortest of the Worlds of Power books that I've read. I've got one more, but we'll talk about that later. So Mega Man goes through all the Robot Masters, gathers all their weapons, and then defeats Dr. Wily after shooting a Mirage, which somehow explodes. And then that stops Dr. Wily for reasons. All of the battles with the Robot Masters are over quickly. Then Dr. Wily gets imprisoned by Dr. Light. Not sure how he has police powers, but whatever. And Mega Man decides to stay human. Why? I understand that they had to create a plot for this because the game doesn't really have much of a plot, and definitely not one that you could really stretch into something close to being a book. It's pretty simple, and they keep it very basic. Just go through the different levels and everything, and yeah, that's it. The biggest problem I have with the story is, why the hell do they turn him into a human, and then why does he stay human at the end of the book? It's very weird, and it doesn't make any damn sense. He doesn't need to be a human in it. It never really comes up, except for like every once in a while where they're like, oh, by the way, he can die. But he's never really in any danger. It's, at least it never feels like he's really in any danger. Especially since this is Mega Man 2, and I know I'm looking at it with the power of hindsight, but I know there are going to be 4 more on the NES. So, yeah, I don't really get that. It was just very, very odd. And the fact that they didn't turn him back into a robot at the end, I was like, really? Why are you doing this? And that's when I kind of figured, they didn't really consult with Capcom, because, Mega Man 3 came out the same year that this book was published. So, yeah, they probably didn't know there was going to be a Mega Man 3, because Capcom most likely just said, yeah, sure, you can make a Mega Man 2 book. It kind of reminds me of the Brazilian Mega Man comics, where they don't really have anything to do with the games, but they still kind of exist on their own. The special backpack I thought was kind of dumb too, especially since it's not brought up until like halfway through the book, or at least I think it's about 40 pages into a 73-page book that it's brought up, which doesn't. It just seems weird. They could have mentioned that right away, like Mega Man goes off and he picks up his backpack and everything. I also forgot to write this down when I was writing out the script for this, but how Mega Man just kind of teleports around is just bizarre to me. Like, I don't understand how he's doing that. Like, he will beat a robot master, Dr. Light will contact him and be like, are you ready to go to the next one, Mega Man? And Mega Man will be like, yep. And then Dr. Light does something, and Mega Man's magically teleported to the next place. It's just kind of dumb. I do like that it does go through all the different robot masters, and it has all the different robot enemies in it. That was pretty cool. But that was kind of it for liking and for anything that I liked in this book. So, final thoughts on this one. The author took some chances with this, and they had to do something to kind of, make up a story and fill it out in some ways, because there's not really a lot going on in a Mega Man game, at least not for the NES. So they had to do something to sort of beef up the story a bit. And, I think they did a good job of coming up with something, but I just don't think it really worked that well for me. And, yeah, I have no idea why they decided to make him a human and then decided to keep him as a human. Like I mentioned, Mega Man 3 came out in 1990, so if you were a kid and you read this book, you would think, oh wow, Mega Man's a human being for the rest of these things. And yeah, you probably wouldn't think that, but whatever. That was just something that I thought of. I'm like, there are other sequels to this, and there's no book on Mega Man 3, so we don't really know how he turns back into a robot. That's assuming that anyone thinks this book is canon in any way. Anyway, this is gonna wrap. Let's just wrap things up here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Wow, okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.